Sup nerds, I'm Tom, let's talk about Unfair. Ba-boom. So Unfair is a game where you are building an amusement park and you're competing to build the best amusement park, but mechanically it's a very card-based sort of tableau builder where you're constantly drawing cards and playing cards that are your attractions and then putting upgrades on those attractions to try and make them bigger and better. And there's a little bit of like an engine building sort of in there, because the more you build, the more money you'll get every round, and then the more money you get every round, the more you'll be able to play better cards and such. It's really straightforward. It seems like a lot because there's a lot of different phases and there's a lot of cards to look at, a lot of different types of cards. So it seems like a lot at first, but after, like the second round, everybody gets it real easily because it works very thematically of just making sense that, well, I'm building this attraction. I build this roller coaster. It'll be better if I put comfortable seating on it. But I could put vending machines there, but I can't put vending machines on a food outlet because that doesn't make the restaurant better if I have vending machines there. I can put lockers and coat check on there and stuff. You can put themes on it, but you can't put two of the same theme because that doesn't make sense. Quality, you can put tons of quality on an attraction because that's just a stamp. Somebody comes around and says, great job, boom. We're going to say that you have the best quality in our magazine or whatever. So while there is a decent amount of complexity, it kind of all makes sense and you get it really quickly. But the biggest complaint that I've heard about from everybody playing this game is that there's a really big take that aspect, and that's true. The turn order in the game is pretty straightforward, round order in the game is pretty straightforward. It's even listed here on the board. You draw an event. There's a city event, which is sort of a global thing that affects everybody. Then we go around in order playing events, which is that big take that aspect. Then we do 3 actions in the park phase where we're building our parks, playing cards and putting upgrades and all that kind of stuff and triggering things. You could potentially have a 4th action if an event lets you do that. Then you gain money from your guests and then we clean up. Really straightforward, right? Well, let's go back to this play events phase. There's all of these events cards that have 2 sides. They have a top and a bottom. The top part of the card helps you, and the bottom of the part of the card generally affects another player. And there's cards that can block certain types of attack cards and what have you. But it is a big part of the game to just say, I'm going to close that thing in your park. You're spending all your time building one really, really great attraction. Well, I'm going to close it. And that's a lot of money you're going to lose in the next round. Or I'm going to demolish things. I'm going to remove this upgrade from your thing or whatever. And I can certainly understand that being an issue for a lot of people. Some people just don't like take that. They don't like mean aspects. They don't like negative player interaction. Hey, I've gone on record a lot saying I really don't like negative player interaction. However, when it's sort of the name of the game, when it's expected before you sit down, that's a huge part, and you have a lot that you can do to defend it. You can dig through that event deck to try and find events that hurt other players or to try and block things. There's cards that you can reopen attractions and things like that. When everybody at the table is sort of on an even playing field in that respect and everybody knows what they're doing, it doesn't really bother me. It kind of, sets me up to know how I'm going to play the game, and I have a lot of fun with it. Now, there are like game changers and stuff included with the game to alter the rules a bit more towards your liking, to make the game a bit nicer, a bit shorter. You can play without events completely, or you could play with where you only do the top part of the events or whatever, just to make it a little bit nicer. And I think that's kind of true with any game, is you can tailor it to the experience you want to have because it's your game. You can do whatever you want, But while I do see the take that aspect as a very valid criticism, I certainly understand it. I really enjoy it because I kind of know what to expect coming in. And it is, the more you play it, the better you're going to be at it, because there are a lot of cards to know, sort of in effect. There's a decent amount of, well, I know that this type of event is pretty prominent, like even Media Blitz is a card that you can play down that says, hey, I'm going to get a lot more money at the end of the round, basically. But if another player plays that card after you, well, then their card is going to trigger and your card is going to get discarded. So knowing those types of things is a big deal to like every single player's kind of shifty eyes looking around like, are you going to play an event? Are you going to pass? How many events do you have in your hand? Okay, well, if you're going to pass, then I'll play Media Blitz. Oh, no, he played Media Blitz, because you go around until everybody passes consecutively. I can pass if everybody else is playing events, and then it comes back to me and I say, you know what, now it's time for me to play my event. You can do so. So that is one valid criticism for the game. The other valid criticism that I definitely have is setup and teardown takes forever. As you can see, I've even kind of half-assed making the table look pretty for y'all here, because you get all these different decks of cards, like this gangster theme pack. The reason why it's called theme pack is because you get a bunch of park cards, the red ones. Those are the main cards. Those are your attractions and upgrades. That's everything you're going to build. You then get a whole bunch of events, right? Like I was just talking about events a whole bunch. Then you get blueprints cards, which are sort of like tickets and Ticket to Ride. They're goals, they're personal goals for you to complete. You'll get extra points if you do them, but you'll lose points if you don't do them correctly. And then there's a bunch of main city events, the global events. You get a super attraction, which is just another type of park card, but they're really, really awesome. You can only build one, and they're really, really awesome, but they're expensive and hard to build and all that stuff. And then, just regular generic cards that you need, your main gate and a little thing that tells you what's what and everything. So with all those different types of cards, what you do is when you go to sit down, you grab one theme pack per player. And it's nice that they gave you 6 in the base game here, because the game goes up to 5, so you still have an extra pack to mix and match a bunch. But you pick number of theme packs equal to number of players. Say 3 players will play with Gangster, Jungle, and Robot. And then you mix all those cards together. So you take all the park cards, you mix those 3 different decks of park cards together. Same thing with events and blueprints and whatever. So setup takes a little while, there's a lot of shuffling, and then teardown takes forever, because you want to not only separate all of the different types of cards, blueprints and park cards and events and whatever, but you also want to separate the faction, or I just said it, theme pack. So there's a little letter in the bottom right-hand corner, and it's nice that they include that kind of stuff. But it takes forever to separate out all these different cards and then put them all away and stuff. So I usually just kind of shove it all back in the box and then fix it up later. Like I'll just stack it up. Nope, just shove it in there. Don't worry, I'll do it later by myself, because it's going to take 10 or 15 minutes, which isn't a lot to do by yourself later on when you watch the TV or whatever. But that 10 or 15 minutes is time you could be spending playing another game. So that's kind of my... it's a necessary evil that you're just going to have to shove everything back in the box, otherwise sit there and sort everything out, and then you're losing more time on your precious hours that you have to play games with your buddies. But overall, guys, obviously, I really love this game. It's one of my favorites. I've been playing it ever since, first time I played it was, I think, Gen Con 2016, and that was before this version came out. They did one print run pre-Kickstarter, and it only had 4 packs in it. And then they did a Kickstarter to run, so this new version has 6 different theme packs, and then they have an expansion with 4 more. So there's a lot of content out for this game, and I really want to see them do even more. I'd love to see a big box for this. They have theme packs, each different letter is its own theme. I'd love to, I think their goal is to do every single letter in the alphabet. X is going to be pretty hard, but it'd be really cool to see 26 different theme packs. That would be phenomenal. I highly recommend you click the purchase link in the description box down below. Get yourself a copy, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.